Little Pierre was a little Cajun boy living in Baton Rouge with his widowed mother, very poor people. His only toy was a pet chicken. One day he was out playing with the pet chicken. His mother came and said, "Little Pierre, I got some bad news." "What's that, Mama?" "Well, we don't have no money in the house. We don't have any food. We're going to starve." He said, "Oh, no, Mama, I'm not going to let you starve." "Well, what you going to do?" "Well, Mama, I'm going to take my chicken. I'm going to kill that chicken. I'm going to fix it up. I'm going to take it to town. I'm going to sold it. I'm going to got you some money, and we're going to have something to eat." "Well, Little Pierre, I appreciate that very much because I know how much you love that little chicken." He took the chicken, walked to town, stopped in the first subdivision. There was a shotgun house, car parked on the street in front of it. Walked up, knocked at the front door, no answer. No answer. Finally hit it as hard as he could, and with that the door began to swing open. And as he stuck his left foot over the threshold to enter into the living room, a car drove up in the driveway, and he saw a man run across the living room with his clothes in his arms, nude, followed by a woman in a nightgown. And she said to him, "Get in that closet and don't make any noise. My husband is home and it'll be bad for everybody if he finds out you're here." And she turned around, and there was little Pierre standing in the doorway with his chicken. And she said, "You boy, get in that closet and don't make any noise because if my husband finds out what's in here, it's going to be bad for everybody." So little Pierre went and sat in the closet, put his pet chicken under his arm, looked around. When the eyes got used to the light, he saw the fella sitting there with his clothes in his arm. He said, "Mister, you want to bought that chicken?" "I don't need no chicken right now. I'm in bad trouble." He said, "Well, I thought you ought to bought that chicken." "Well, why should I buy that chicken?" "Because if you don't bought that chicken and got some money from my mama, I'm going to start crying. That man going to hear me crying. He's going to come to saw what's happening here. It's going to be bad for everybody." That's what that lady said. "How much you want for the chicken?" "I'll sell you that chicken for $20. "Well, that chicken's not worth $20. "Well, it's not worth $20 to me, but I thought it's worth $20 to you." So he gave him $20 and took the chicken. A few minutes later, little Pierre, "Mister, you want to sold back that chicken?" He said, "I didn't want to buy the chicken in the first place." He said, "I'm going to give you $2 for that chicken." "Well, I just bought it for $20. "Yeah, but like I told you, it's worth a lot more to you than it's worth to me." So the man sold it to him for $2. A few minutes later, "Mister, you want to buy back that chicken?" And that went on 4 or 5 times. Finally, the lady came and she said, "Okay, he's gone. Get up, put on your clothes, and you boy, you take your chicken, go home, and don't you tell anybody what happened here." So he went home and he handed his mother $45. And she said, "Little Pierre, you done something bad because you still got that chicken and you got $45. I don't want to know what you done, because I need the money too bad, but tomorrow I want you to go to church and you tell the priest what you done and ask for forgiveness." It's okay. So he went to the church the next day, went to the confessional, sat down, looked around, got used to the light. His voice behind the screen said, "What can I do for you, my son?" He said, "Well, Father, it's about that chicken." "Oh, you don't ever give up." Well, we don't want to give up. This country, this district, this state needs you. And needs the Democratic Party. And before I close, I want to say to my friend, John Bell, told him when he first got into it, I said, "Now look, you're going to run across people who don't like me. And you probably run into some who like me." And I said, "When it suits you, desires whatever you want to, if they don't like me, that's one thing, but if they like me, tell them we're first cousins." And he said, "Well, what about if they don't like me, you?" I said, "Well, tell them I don't know the SOB. But I wish you well. And all I can tell you, as a Democratic Party, you're going to get a lot of help from a Democratic congressman, because I'm going to be your congressman." Last thing. He's a crook. He stole money. He did this. He did that. Well, it's no secret I've been investigated Drug me before grand juries 20 times, maybe 19, maybe 21. I lost count after 12. But let me tell you something. The record of that case is still in the courthouse, there for anybody to see. Contrary to what some ill-informed, misinformed, they say if you read the newspapers, if you don't read the newspapers, you're uninformed. If you read the newspapers, you're misinformed. Contrary to what they just wrote us but latest 2 weeks ago, it had nothing to do with my role as governor. I was out of office 15 months before all that business started. I didn't have any power or prestige or ability to hurt or do anything for anybody. I never was charged with stealing money from the state. Contrary to that, as Buddy Leach has said, I left a fund now worth $1.2 billion. It's the only such fund in America, and I'm the only governor who ever left anything for the people of this state except unpaid bills and deficits. But the money's there. I never was charged with bribery. I never was charged with selling riverboat licenses. That's not a word or a piece of paper in the whole trial about that. For whatever it's worth to you, as bad as it is, and as untrue as it was simply people said that I extorted them. Didn't say why or how. They just said they believed I would hurt them, even though I'd been out of office for a year and a half, if they didn't pay me. That's what they said. Well, we had a judge who was on OxyContin. We didn't know about it till after the trial. And he did everything he could to help the prosecution except sit at the table, and there wasn't an extra chair. The FBI agent in charge of the investigation, under oath, in testimony transcribed and written and still in the record, testified that he had falsified affidavits in order to get the judge to give him permission to tap my phone and bug my house. Now, in a fair environment, that fellow would have been put in jail and I'd have been given a bouquet. But that's not the way it was done. But it's okay. When the judge found out that one of the fellows on the jury was interested in trying to get me acquitted and had several people willing to follow him, he threw him off the jury and let 11 men and women convict me. Unheard of in American jurisprudence. But I've had more than my share of good luck, and I took my share of bad luck that I didn't deserve. I walked into prison and I told my family, I'll be out. I'm going to live. They're not going to kill me. And I didn't whine or cry. I did what I could to make life better for my fellow inmates, helped a bunch of them get CEDs, got books for them. Little story, when I was 9 years old, Red River, on whose banks we lived, threatened to overflow. The government hired 200 men, farmers and workmen, to repair the levee. It was 1936 when I was 9 years old. I got my first federal job. I was paid 9 cents an hour. I took a long-handled dipper, dipped it in a wooden barrel, walked down the line, and 200 men drank out of the same dipper. Couldn't do that now. That was on the Red River, about 30 miles southeast of Alexandria. As fate would have it, 66 years later, I got my second federal job. I was chief librarian at the prison. But this time I was being paid 23 cents an hour, so things were getting better. But I hadn't volunteered. And as soon as I could, I left. And it wasn't all bad because, but for that, I wouldn't have little Eli, and I wouldn't have Trina at my side. And every night I go to bed and say, hell, it was worth it. But I'll tell you this. Every night when I went to my cot, I thought about Louisiana, the people, you, all of you. I remembered how close we were, how I got along so well, how people respected me and supported me and worked with me, and how we worked together for the benefit of the people of this state, and how we made a difference for people who heretofore had nobody to speak for them. They were powerless. They couldn't talk to anybody, couldn't get anything done. They were desperate for help, and we helped. And I say, it was so great for so long. People were so kind to me. I wonder what it'll be like when I get out. It was the last conscious thought I had every night before I went to sleep. And you know, after I got out, I know they talked about me behind my back, but to my face, people were kind, considerate, understanding. Trina and I went to 53 different towns and cities in this city from in this state, from New Orleans to the smallest hamlet in Mamou, making speeches, meeting old friends and making new ones. And I told her many times, I never went to bed at night, but that I reminded myself I will not forget the people of Louisiana. And all those nights of wondering and being concerned were washed away when I found out how you had not forgotten me. Thank you.